Hey, this is Corey from Reliance, and in today's video we're going to continue with the 100 prepper items. The first list was about things everyone should have on hand. The second one was cooking and food and water. This one is about replacements. Now, the easiest way for me to explain what this list is about is to just get started. So, number one is a luggable loo. So your toilet stops working, either the sewer system's plugged up, you don't have running water, the toilet itself is cracked or broken, so you cannot use it. And so what are you going to replace that with so that you can continue to be just as comfortable as normal? For me and my family, that's a luggable loo, right? It allows me the opportunity to turn a 5-gallon bucket into a functioning toilet. Inside my luggable loo, I always keep heavy-duty trash bags and kitty litter so I can cut down on the smell and make cleanup a lot easier. And the other thing that you might want to have on hand is a bidet, a portable bidet, because again, just cutting down on the amount of toilet paper that you're using with a luggable loo can help as well. But it's just the replacement, right? If this breaks, I can replace it with the luggable loo and I can be just as comfortable as I always have been. Number two is a portable shower. Now, I know there's a lot of portable showers or camp showers that you hang up in a tree or you hang up high and then gravity is what allows you to take the shower. I'm not really a big fan of those because you don't always have the capability of hanging these things up, right? Or you might not have branches that are exactly the height that you need them without another branch sticking in a spot, you know what I mean? I like the pump ones. That's what me and my family use. We have a pump shower. And I like it because I can use it anywhere. I can use it in the bathtub, right? If I don't have running water, I can fill it full of water from the lake. I can filter the water if I need to. I can fill it up and I can use it in the bathtub. As long as the drain continues to work, I can use it in the bathtub. I can use it in the garage. I can use it in the backyard. I can use it at the park. I can use it literally anywhere, and it's going to work exactly the same no matter what. I don't have to worry about a branch. I don't have to worry about how I'm going to get it up in the air, how I'm going to mount it. I don't have to worry about any of that. I just pump it up and shower or rinse off or do whatever it is I need to do. And so I really like the pump showers over the gravity showers. Number three is a wash tub, right? You still need to be able to do your dishes and clean up after yourself, and so just a tub, right? It could be any kind of tub, anything you can put water in and wash your pots, your pans, your forks, your spoons, all of that stuff. Just having a wash tub on hand can be used for a lot of different things, and so I really think, again, we're replacing the kitchen sink, right? If you don't have running water, if your drain's backed up or plugged up, you can fill a wash tub full of water and you can do your dishes, you can clean up after things, you can do a lot with a wash tub. Number four is a cooler. Now, your fridge stops working, your freezer stops working, you still need to be able to keep things cold. This one is one that I worry about all the time, right? A cooler is going to keep your stuff cold. Especially if you have ice, especially if you have frozen food that you can put inside of it. The frozen food is going to keep all the other food inside frozen. And so it does work for a while. You know what I mean? And so as soon as if you're replacing your freezer or you're exchanging your freezer, you can put things in the cooler to keep them cold while you're in the process of swapping them out. But again, if you don't have access to ice, it's got to be kind of a quick transition between the stuff in the freezer to the stuff in the new freezer, or the stuff in the freezer to a different freezer. And so my plan is, if something happens here, I can put the stuff in the freezer, bring it to a family member's house, and then put it in their freezer for a time being. And then as soon as I get my power back, as soon as I get whatever I need, I can go and I can pick it up, put it back in the cooler, bring it back to my freezer. And it's not a foolproof, it's not going to work long term. It's not the solution that I'm comfortable with, but at the moment, it's kind of the only solution I have. Number 5 is a camp stove. You might have noticed in my last video when I was talking about cooking and food and water that I mentioned fuel and all these other things, but I didn't mention the stove. Well, it's because it's on this list, right? If your stove top goes out, if your oven breaks, how are you going to cook? If your microwave goes out, if you don't have power, you still got to have the ability to cook and feed your family. And a camp stove is a really good way of doing that. For a long time I had a backpacking stove that was my preparedness stove. I could cook my mountain house meals on it. But I learned real quick that those mountain house meals are really expensive, and I kind of want to save them as long as I possibly can. And so now I have a double burner Coleman stove that is, honestly, the Coleman stove and the single burner stove are my favorite because it's more like cooking on a normal stove top, right? Especially if you have a gas stove, it's identical to cooking on your gas stove. And so it's more comfortable. You can use your standard pots and pans. You don't have to worry about them falling off or the heat distribution. And so I prefer the bigger, I like the single burner myself. The double burner has the sides to it, so sometimes the pots and pans don't fit the way I want them to. So I like the single burner so that I can utilize all of our pots and pans however I need to. But having a way of cooking the food that you have on hand, even when the power goes out, even if your stove breaks, is very important. And we talked about that a lot last week. Number 6 is a Scrubba washing machine. What is a Scrubba washing machine? This is a Scrubba washing machine. This is a dry bag essentially with a vent so that you can get the air out, and then inside of it is a silicone with a bunch of nubs all over it. And so what this does is it scrubs your clothes. It's the same as a washboard. You can get a washboard, so if you're using if you have a big enough wash tub for your dishes and everything, you can also use it for your clothes, and you can get a washboard. My tub's not big enough for clothes, and this is just more convenient, and because it has water lines, so you fill up to the right water line, and then you can scrub your clothes and get them nice and clean. If you fill to this line, you get enough for one shirt, one pair of socks, and one pair of underwear. If you fill it to this line, you get two shirts, 2 socks, 2 pairs of socks, 2 pairs of underwear, and you can wash them up just to get the smell out, the bacteria, all the things that you don't want in your clothes. This allows you to wash them out and get them nice and clean. And you can do 1 pair of pants in here as well, so if you really need a whole outfit change, you can use this to do a lot of laundry, to clean up all that stuff and make it clean and as good as new, right? So number 7 is a clothesline, just a piece of cordage and 2 trees, or however you can string up a piece of cordage. You're going to have a clothesline because if you're going to be washing them by hand, you're probably going to have to dry them by hand, right? There was a time where our washing machine went out and we were able to wash them and then put them in the dryer and use the dryer because there was nothing wrong with our dryer, it's just the washing machine was broken. And having a clothesline, though, would allow you to dry your clothes even if your dryer breaks, even if you don't have access to electricity, if the power goes out. There's so many situations where your dryer just doesn't work. The heating element can go out in them. There's lots of reasons why your dryer stops working, and having a backup clothesline option makes it very simple to just throw your clothes on the line, let them air dry, and they smell really good too when you let them air dry. Number 8 is a lantern. So you can get, I have a Lucy light, and so a Lucy light is really good because it's solar powered, so it almost always works. Even a propane option. These are really nice. And the reason I like lanterns over headlamps and or flashlights is because the lantern lights up the whole room. So instead of having 4 people all using a flashlight all at the same time, you can light up one lantern, light up the entire room, and then you just are using this one thing. You also aren't carrying it around everywhere. You can just set it down or hang it or whatever you want to do, and you can move around comfortably. And no one's tripping or falling over anything. No one's falling down the stairs. No one's, if the power goes out, you have a whole room lit up. You can usually function around the room. You put this in the living room, you now know how to get to the bathroom, you know how to get to the kitchen, you know what I mean? So lighting up a whole room is really good option. I like lanterns for emergency preparedness inside the home, and they're very easy to use too. So I like lanterns. Number 9 is heater. I have electric heaters and propane heaters. If you're only going to get one, I suggest a propane heater. Why propane? Because it works no matter what. Right? If my furnace goes out, I can use my electric heaters, and I don't have to worry about gas leaks and all of that. I don't have to worry about carbon monoxide. I don't have to worry about any of that. So if my furnace goes out, I do have electric heaters that I can use to heat specific rooms of my house to keep it comfortable or more comfortable. But if I could only have one, it'd be propane, because propane works when the furnace goes out, it works when the electricity goes out, it works in a tent, it works in the garage, it works in the house, it works everywhere, right? This is always going to work. As long as I have fuel, this will work. And so if you can only have one, get propane. But I like having both. I like having electric and propane heaters, because living in Minnesota, it gets very cold, and worst case scenario, I could use both, right? I could plug some in, I can have propane running in different areas, I can use the propane to keep the pipes from freezing, I can use the electrical to keep us from freezing, and it just gives me the flexibility of using whatever it is I need to use. And last but not least, number 10 is a portable fan. Now I really like this fan in particular. I'm going to do a video just on this fan, but it runs on its own battery, and so it allows me the opportunity to, it oscillates as well. And so when people think about fans, they think about cooling, right? I do too. Like if it's really hot out, being able to use this fan and set it down on the floor and let it circulate the air and maybe blow right on me and the family so that we can stay cool. This is going to be really nice, and like I said, I will do a dedicated video on this fan in particular. But I really like having a fan. Not only does it help keep you cool though, is what I was trying to say, but if you have a propane heater, there's no fan built into this thing, right? And so the heat just kind of rises. So if I have this and this working together, I could even have this blowing across it. So if I have this blowing the heat into the room, it's going to heat the room more efficiently, right? Instead of all the heat rising out of this and kind of getting lost, I can use this fan to blow that heat around the room, and I can get way more efficient use out of my propane burners or my electric heaters, because they don't have fans built into them either. So using this in conjunction with this, I can stay a lot warmer. If it's hot out or if it's hot, I can use this to help keep cool. And so having a portable fan that doesn't rely on being plugged in, I think is very important, especially living in Minnesota. Making the heaters work more efficiently and being able to cool, I really like this thing a lot. So in the comment section down below, I want to know, did I miss anything? What are some replacements that you have? In this video we talked about toilets, we talked about showers, sinks, fridges, stoves, washing machines, dryers, the lights in your room, heaters, and the fan's not going to replace your air conditioning, but it'll help keep you cool and it'll help keep you warmer. Is there anything else that you worry about going out or not working proper, and what is the replacement that you have on hand? Let me know in the description box down below. Let me know in the comment section. In the description box, I will leave links to the stuff that I shared just so that you can find them more easily, and I can't wait to see you on my next video.